We're starting off high.
So we can get
I
a two fools agree on that one. Oh, by the way, look, we got the wide shot.
There was you had accountability. Now what I can
Now all you need is a podcast and a YouTube channel.
No, not even.
Where give me the money. Show me the money.
Apparently there's a Foolproof page.
Shoot the J. Shoot it. Live on Facebook.com/Foolproof Entertainment Network. I need you on Twitter. I need you to repost the Facebook pages.
To raise a human before I would
Trust human to raise back wolves.
before I would trust a pack of humans to raise wolves.
Right. I hear you. Yo, what up, fools? Welcome to another edition of Do Fools Agree. As always, I'm your host, Michael Reggie, here with my main man, Clifford Jordan Jennings.
That's me.
That's you. Hey, man.
That's me.
We got a little mid-high school football season episode today because we are playing on Saturday. So no game for me
y'all
tonight.
playing like JV.
Shit, you knew you ain't wrong. I mean, we're young. That's what I'm going to keep saying. That's the company line. The good news is also, though, is that of our remaining 5 games after this, at least 2 of them are on Thursday night. So
really?
We will also have episodes the last week of the regular season, and I think it's the week before that we're also playing on Thursday night. So, you know, not as many nights off as we had last year, where we hardly did any Do Fools Agree episodes during the high school football season. So I'm glad I've got a free night here. Glad to be spending it with you, good sir.
You know, I'm always up for that action.
So I appreciate it. How's your week been?
It's been all right. You know, I didn't have much of a week.
No.
I was off of work for most of the week. Today was my first day back, so.
Gotcha. Well, that's nice. You do anything with your time?
I didn't have much going on. No, not really.
Nah. Said fuck it. I'm just not working.
Not really.
Your own little staycation.
You know, my stingy ass employer doesn't let you carry over any days, so you gotta use them or lose them.
Yeah, I hear you on that.
So I gotta get my spot in where I can fit it in there until the end of the year.
Yeah. No, I hear you on that.
That's giving money away.
Oh, no doubt.
And, you know what I'm saying? And motherfuckers don't pay you enough anyway.
These
I'm not giving no dollars away.
These millionaires and billionaires already are guilty of wage theft, so I'm with you.
You ain't lying. You ain't lying. I'll be damned if I can't use my PTO. And I'll be telling them, like, listen, even if I can't use my PTO, I'm not going to be here. So might as well put it in. I'm going to get paid for it regardless. It's going to be an occurrence. But
right.
I'm not going to be here either way you look at it. Might as well.
So you handle it how you want to.
Right.
I'm not going to be here.
You know?
Well, and on that note, I think that's a good segue into one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight. United Auto Workers. Their union contract expired at 11:59 last night or tonight. And so that is the Auto Workers Union for the Big Three. So Ford, GMC, and who's the other one? Whoever else the U.S. one is. But
Chevy.
Well, is Chevy GMC together?
That's a good question.
There's been so much consolidation in that space over the last 15 years. I don't even know who the parents are anymore.
Yeah, no, I couldn't tell you. Is it Dodge?
Dodge, Chrysler, GMC, I think are all together. I just can't remember if Chevy's part of that still, or if Chevy's part of that or not. Maybe not. Maybe it is GMC and then Chevy Ford are the three big ones. I mean, I should know this. This is a big thing in Ohio and Michigan. But either way, the way that they're talking about doing it, and I think they've published this, is like they're basically not going to notify like who's going on strike when. So they're going to do it in like waves and almost like targeted strikes to say, all right, this chapter's going on strike, then this chapter, so that they can't really like game plan, so the manufacturers can't really game plan for what's going on. And then obviously we're still in the middle of the writers and actors strikes. Obviously the what's the other one? The Teamsters. They avoided strikes because UPS upped like the minimum wage for part-time to like $40 an hour.
$40 an hour?
Mm-hmm. And so that's what it's going to take, though. It's going to take workers going on strike to basically force the hand of these people that have been making record profit margins for the last 3 or 4 years. And that's what it's going to take. And you got to hit them in the pocketbooks. That's the only place they care about. And
I'm finna apply to UPS.
I stand with the United Auto Workers. I will not be buying a car while they're on strike. How about that?
I ain't buying a car because I can't afford to buy a goddamn car.
Nobody can right now,
But you can
dude.
use that. You can use that excuse. I stand with auto workers as well.
That what I have right now, and it's only a 2020. I think the price has doubled since I bought it.
For real?
Yeah, like the KBB value on it hasn't gone down at all, which is crazy considering cars usually depreciate the moment you drive it off the lot.
Right.
So
it's in their favor. Whatever works best for them.
No doubt.
It depreciates when you're trying to trade it back in to get something new.
Right, no doubt, absolutely.
But when the greedy motherfuckers need money, this shit's an antique. Oh, you didn't know this appreciates with value now. Let me find out a Ford, GMC, or a Chevy has ever appreciated in value.
I tell you what, my Explorer right now might be close.
I guarantee you, that's all it ever will be is an antique.
Right.
Because as soon as that motherfucker appreciates in value, you can guarantee it's on its way out of the game. That's what that stands for. Found on the road dead. The fuck? Ford hadn't been doing nothing to improve nothing but their pickup trucks.
Well, and their profit margins.
Period.
Like, that's the shit that's crazy to me. I was looking at an infographic the other day because I'm a data geek when it comes to that kind of stuff.
What's an infographic?
Basically, just a graphic that shows data, and it was showing like the percentage.
A picture?
Yeah, like a picture.
Okay.
A chart, a graph.
Right. Okay. There we go. Now we're speaking English.
It was one of those ones that like it's a bunch of years all back to back, so it looks animated.
Right.
So it grows or whatever. And it was something crazy like 20 years ago, maybe it was 30. I don't remember what the time horizon was. I think it was 20 or 30 years ago. And the price of goods, and I can't remember the exact industry, but I think it was pretty generic or general. The price of goods was like 20% markup, 40% material cost, 40% labor. That's what like generally people would use to determine what the price of something was. Now it is like 70%. Is it 70? Yeah, I think it's like 70% profit margin, 15% price of labor, 15% of raw materials. And so corporate greed is the only reason we are currently in the silent depression. Like, that is factually the only reason that the everyday American right now is living worse off than they were during the Great Depression, because companies have taken prices and given it all to the markup, none of it back to the people, none of it to the suppliers, which they'll tell you, oh, this is because the supply chain was decimated during COVID. No, it fucking wasn't. It had a 6-month hiccup. And what you ended up with was this bubble in the supply chain that once things finally calmed down and they could get like the barges out of whatever river in the Euphrates or whatever the fuck it was, where they were all getting tied up. Like, as soon as that bottleneck cleared, supply chain's been fine. So anybody that's telling you, like, the price of, you know, lumber, steel, like that kind of stuff is skyrocketed, it really hasn't. It really hasn't.
Yeah, I mean, those are just a bunch of words to me.
Looks like we got somebody in the chat. I don't know. Or somebody in the waiting room. Should we let them in?
Let them in.
We'll find out who it is.
Let's up for a surprise.
All
You
right.
can't tell who's in the waiting room.
It says KingPad K10.
Let's see. Let's see.
And I will be quick on the kick button.
Nah, fuck all that.
But that's where we're at right now.
Man, I don't got much to say. I don't got much to say about it. Like,
Oh, it's Unc.
you know your pad ain't been king for a while now, sir. You muted, Unc. Should be in the bottom corner.
He's trying to figure it out. This is what happens when old people try to deal with technology.
Listen, he flipping us off. I was hoping for a troll, so now you got to troll us, Unc.
Eat shit, both of you.
There we go.
There
That's
we go.
the love I
That's
needed.
what we were looking for.
What's going on with you, sir?
Not much. Sorry, I missed you when I was in town.
Yeah, I'm mad I did too. I am mad I did as well.
Well, we never got a D&D game going either because schedules got crazy with all, like, everybody had an issue at some point. We haven't
I
played.
still got
We haven't
them
played in like a
motherfucking
month.
knockers. Got them knockers in my drawer back there.
And guess what? We ain't playing this week either because Kiddo has a doubleheader on Sunday again.
Oh, yeah.
I did one D&D jump off, and that was the end of my shit. And these motherfuckers made it all short for me like a children's book. I wasn't involved in no kind of missions.
That's true. Cliff does need to play one where he's in for the long game.
Yeah, I would have known.
But that means you have to be reliable, Cliff.
I'm reliable. When do y'all do it?
Right now, not very frequently. Usually it's Sundays, like 12 to 3.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't be that reliable.
Yeah, because Danny runs another game on Saturday, so.
Yeah, and my flag football is on Sunday. So.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm dealing with right now is the kiddos flag. So maybe when we
And
get
how's
back to
the-
the winter time.
How's your season going, Michael?
Not good. The fight does not
Not
go
good?
well, Enterprise.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I'm hoping we get our first win tomorrow.
Oh, okay. So
Listen,
you went to St. Charles and got beat up, or?
Oh, we got smacked. But it was good to see all of my former players there. Like, I had a bunch of former players that showed up at the game, and they all actually stayed on our sideline, which was nice.
that's how
Right.
you know it's bad when your highlight of the night was seeing.
Ex St. Charles players on my
Yeah.
sideline, yeah.
That's how you know it was bad. Them
I didn't mean
boys.
to interrupt you two. I know you were talking about different things, but I'll just
Nah.
Oh, you good?
interrupt you.
Change the name
Y'all
on
need-
your iPad or on your Zoom login so I know it's you.
Y'all need to contact Bishop Sycamore. Get
Have you
some
watched?
talent in there.
Have you watched that documentary?
No, I haven't. I started it and fell asleep and haven't even tried to get back in it.
So that's one that I want to watch. And then, you may have seen. Have you seen the wrestlers on Netflix? The one about Ohio Valley?
No,
It's a
but
doc?
Yeah.
I was going to start watching it tonight, actually, because I saw it advertised while I was scrolling on shit. So I'm like,
Nice.
looks pretty good.
Nah, I can't. I would. Is it back in the day shit?
It's back in the day stuff, but Ohio Valley Wrestling is where like John Cena started, where Brock Lesnar started, like where a bunch of the stars from like while we were growing up, where they got
Yeah.
their start.
Oh, okay.
Because it
Yeah,
used
that's
to be
not really. back far enough for me.
No, but it used to be like the WWE training camp.
Right.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it used to be the minor leagues for them. That's where they would send people to like get development. Like Kurt
That
Angle
seems
started
fitting.
there.
Well, I know there used to be a small wrestling school in Columbus. Where me and Daniel used to live on Fifth Avenue for years. It was just a smaller, group, but I used to go in there once in a while, watch guys
Just
work
watch
out and
them.
have like matches and shit. Yeah.
They wasn't no motherfucking luchadors.
No, but they were just guys that were coming up and training, so you'd appreciate
Right.
the work they put in, just like
That's why I
anything
said. That's why I said it seems fitting. Like wrestling seems like a very Midwestern thing, And if you have it anywhere,
you get into states like Minnesota and Iowa,
Yeah.
they're known.
I mean,
for
I'm
that.
not saying that only the Midwesterners like wrestling, because I'm sure there's a big Southern community as well. But
Well, obviously, there's a big Samoan community too, because they're
Right.
pretty much.
That's who's
Yeah,
running
that's
it
right.
right now.
you're not wrong.
The family.
That's only because they got colonized, though.
I still watch that stuff.
I did. I got back into it for like 6 months, probably a year ago, because Andrew got into it for a bit. But
Right.
I fell right back off because I can't stand and I don't know if he's still the champ, but like Roman Reigns,
Yeah, he's
one,
still a champ.
he can't wrestle. Like
He's related to The Rock in them, ain't he?
he's supposedly,
Yeah.
but he like literally the only thing I saw him do was like the spear and the Superman punch, and that was across like 8 different matches. I'm like, who the fuck cares? Like, it's not entertaining. But I guess
done with wrestling.
But I guess people love him, so.
He'll do that in a triangle choke to choke.
Oh,
people
did
out.
he add a submission finally? Well, that was nice of him because his
Well,
matches.
the guillotine of the triangle he uses.
I stopped watching wrestling when. Well, let me say the least ignorant first. When MMA came out and Sable stopped showing her tits.
Fair enough. When UFC popped.
Well, now UFC and WWE are one group.
They're owned by the same company now.
Yeah, that's weird, but I mean, it hasn't seemed to affected the product. So,
well, it just became fruition like yesterday. So,
well, that and I'm sure it is.
Go ahead.
I'm sure it is for like creative and production purposes more than anything, and then on top of that, it's got to be operationally more efficient for both companies if they're like running everything the same way, because you just get to like cost efficiencies.
Right.
Like I don't think it's a bad look.
No, I agree to have something that's scripted right alongside something that's supposedly not.
Right. That's a bad look.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that kills me is that you can go on like DraftKings and bet on wrestling now.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I knew that. I remember when they announced that.
I was just like, what? You know, if you had an inside track, you could be making all kind of ducats. So
I'm about to start talking to Mike's son.
Yeah,
who's been winning over and over again. Okay, I'm going against him this time because I know that they got odds now.
Right.
But that shit weird. I hope it bites him in the ass like GameStop.
I mean,
I hope everybody makes all the bread off of it.
Well, and I think what it does is, to your point, Cliff, like, does it open the door for someone else in UFC or in MMA to come in and challenge UFC in terms of the top spot? Because people don't believe that UFC is real anymore. Or maybe it opens the door for boxing to kind of regain some popularity. Like, I know you talk about it, but I know it's...
Nah, boxing won't regain popularity until they get rid of the 4-belt system.
Yeah.
That's what's killing the sport.
Boxing has become more of a niche now. Where just because of the guys that,
I'm to the point now where if I'm being 100% honest, I respect the MMA fighters more than the boxers.
Well, when you get an idiot like, I'm sorry, I don't care if you like him or not, but Mayfield saying he could have beat
Mayweather
saying he could have taken Duran, Leonard, Hagler, and Hearns with no problem. Nope, not gonna happen.
It's different.
No, there's definitely not going to be a no problem there. But then I raise questions like, what era of his career is it in?
Well, he's saying when they were all both in their primes that he could have taken any of those guys.
Well, see, my whole thing is I don't think Mayweather was in his prime when he was the most dangerous. When he was the most dangerous coming up, when he was a knockout artist, he wasn't what he was at the end of his career. He wasn't defensively sound like that because he didn't have to be.
Right.
No, he was precise and he had power and he would knock you out. Now, after his hands got all brittle and he had to learn to really, master defense and everything, it was like, oh, that's a different level. So I don't know.
He had said recently, because he was 50-0, that he was the greatest of all time. And guys like Duran and those guys and Tyson were like, have you ever seen Manny Pacquiao? He was like 89-0. And he didn't.
Yeah, but you can't use that as a comparison because he got beat by Mayweather and he dodged fights for years before Mayweather got it. Whether it be drug testing or whatever the case may be, you can't use that and he made Pacquiao look foolish when he fought him. So you can't use that. And I understand what Mayweather is saying. It's the same argument, not to cut you off, but it's the same argument that the NBA players currently use when they say, well, who were you playing?
Right.
Who was Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain? Not Bill Russell, but Wilt Chamberlain. You played 12-team league. You weren't playing the competition we were. So clearly you weren't as good because we're putting up these numbers with better competition. And that goes back as far as, I would say it starts to end with Hearns, Leonard, Duran, Hagler, and all them. But before that, there were more cab drivers than there were actual fighters. So you can't really give a whole lot of credence to people's records because you weren't fighting elite like the fighters are now. They're coming out the gates fighting elite now.
Yeah, it's true.
But at the same time, I don't think that Mayweather easily defeats, I won't say any of them because I guarantee one of them gets done up pretty quick. And I would go as far to say it would probably be Duran.
But at the end of the day, it's all a moot point, right? You can continue to make the argument, all that. Like you could, this goes back to
obviously the argument with MJ and LeBron. So
right. And it all comes with, there's contingencies. There's different things that factor in.
What rules are we playing by?
That's
the big one for like the NFL. Like the rules are different now.
That's what it really comes down to is like, what is the standard that we're using, the baseline that we're using here? What's the barometer here?
Is Brady the greatest of all time if you're still allowed to hit the quarterback for his last 15 years of his career? Right? Like No, I'm just saying, is Brady the greatest of all time as a quarterback if he's allowed to get hit the way like we were allowed to hit in the 90s, early 2000s?
He's the reason. So no.
Right.
He's the reason you can't get hit.
You think of guys like LT and even back in the day, they were, think of one time where Turkey Jones spiked Terry Bradshaw right on his head. I mean,
right. Or like, how many fucking concussions did Troy Aikman have?
How did you guys fare your first week in fantasy with the Hit the Showers League?
Oh man, first week in fantasy in the Hit the Showers League. I talked about this on the podcast 2 nights ago. My game came down to Tyler Bass kicking a field goal in overtime to win that game for the Bills on Monday night, and I got heartbroken on both sides.
That's rough. Yeah, I'm 1-0 right now, baby, and I currently have a 30-point lead.
Oh, I'm down like 30 to Malk right now.
Are you?
Yeah, but he had a lot of guys playing that Thursday night game.
Yeah, I only had one, and that was DeAndre Swift. So the fact that DeAndre Swift put up 30 for me, I'm looking it's pretty hard for you to come back from that.
Yeah.
One guy that got me 1.4 last week put up 30.
Right. That's why I sat him this week. I noticed this morning. I was like, motherfucker.
Nah,
And
I
then
didn't sit him because Gainwell got hurt.
and then I sat Kirk Cousins too. I was like, son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
That could have been 60 points up.
Who was your starting quarterback then?
It's Josh Allen. I still did okay. I mean, don't get me. No, I mean it was Jalen Hurts. I still did okay.
Oh, okay.
I got two good quarterbacks. Don't get me wrong. So
Yeah, but Kirk Cousins did put up more points. Well, I don't know. Hurts got that rushing touchdown too. He got a rushing, a passing, and an interception, and Kirk got three passing touchdowns.
Malk is up on me because it hurts. So
well, I picked up Kirk Cousins late because I was the number one pick. Then I picked up Jefferson from Minnesota.
Gotcha.
That's a mean combo if you can get them both in there at the same time.
Well, I know Jefferson got robbed of one touchdown last night or Thursday night for some reason.
Oh, that wasn't a robbery. That wasn't a robbery. He did fumble out of the end zone.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that was a for sure fumble. I was looking at it when they caught it out of bounds at the one. I was like, the ball crosses the pylon and goes out of bounds. That's a safety or a touchback or whatever you want to call it. Because it didn't go out the back of the end zone, so it couldn't be a safety. But still, like, it went out of bounds. That's not a touchdown. You can't put it on the one. So I'm glad that somebody challenged that because I was looking at it myself like, don't give them that. And that's your fault. You get overzealous. You know what I mean? You get so close to the motherfucking rainbow that you just want to reach for it. And sometimes you just got to take a few extra steps to get it.
Right, or let the running back get the touchdown.
You know, motherfuckers want stats nowadays. That's the reason why what's the name? He fumbled because he held the ball across and it got knocked out. Who was it? It was a quarterback. I can't even think. Was it? No, it wasn't Lamar. Was it Lamar?
Might have been. I got him in one of my other leagues.
Yeah, somebody got a fumble and it wasn't even at the goal line. They were going for a first down and they tried to reach the ball across and somebody punched it as he was reaching and you lost the ball because you were reaching for the goal line. It wasn't a fourth down situation. You know what I'm saying? You have an extra play. Right. You picked up yards. Right. Take the yards you got. But you want to go the extra mile and reach for the rainbow, and that's how you lose the pot of gold.
You ain't wrong.
You know? But fuck sports. Let's get back to these fucking devils in the corporate America.
Which devils are you talking about? The one that you work for?
All of them.
Them included. Them included. The fuck all of them. All of the ones, like Mike said, that your profit margin compared to your payout is that.
It's absurd. It's
absurd. What's
right
the word
now.
I'm looking for? It's a big gap is what I'm saying.
I know out here they just signed a thing to where even McDonald's workers are going to be paid $20 an hour. So,
I mean,
that's a long time coming.
It is, and I think that the other piece of that is
with the cost of living. I mean, you know.
Well, that and like thinking about it from and we talked about it at one point around like minimum wage should not be federal, but it should be federal guidance at basically a county level because cost of living is different everywhere. That being said, I am a big proponent of if you are a CEO of a publicly traded company, you cannot make more than 10 or 20 times your lowest employee's salary. Because guess what?
I agree with that.
20, 50 years ago, I mean, that was reality. Like, it's only in the last 10 to 20 years that CEO salaries have exploded. And listen to these guys like Jamie Dimon from Chase or the dude from Wells Fargo, and them talking about how like their bank tellers are on public assistance. Like, why are taxpayers subsidizing your employees? Get the fuck out of here.
Listen, I'm not saying that.
Bring back bring back and raise corporate taxes. Raise corporate taxes that for every employee you have that receives public assistance, you owe an extra 10% in taxes. And self-fund the goddamn program.
I mean, that, right?
Why isn't he in politics?
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I'm not going to say, like, we should take them out or anything.
But
if we at least, and this isn't, this is satire, ladies and gentlemen, but we should at least kidnap them and give them a swirly.
No, what's our rule, Cliff? What is our platform? If you make more than $500 million, if you are an individual who holds more than $500 million,
you got to campaign why the people shouldn't come for everything you got.
We reserve the right to fuck you up.
You hear me? You should campaign. I did this last year. I did this. I donated to that. I assisted with this. And if it doesn't, and you could do all that. And if it still doesn't add up to the amount of money that you made, you may be on the chopping block, bruh.
Right.
Hey, Michael.
Yeah.
My roommate Mike wants to know why you're not in politics.
Because I got too much dirt on my rap sheet.
You grew up in the hood, yeah.
I mean, that may be where we're headed, right? Listen, if Trump can get there,
right,
then I don't see any reason why you can't.
He says so do a lot of senators.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Listen, you know, you really want to know why, and the why is because what you just said. He knows too many people that are willing to do too many things. So if he was a politician, they would be like, who did what? When? How can we pin it to him?
Right.
No, I mean, so that's part of it.
Lord knows we couldn't be friends anymore because I would fuck it up. They would be like,
"What are you talking about? You're going to be in my office. You're going to be one of my appointees."
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
I'm standing there with my hands crossed, like what's his name? From Key and Peele. I'll translate for you. This motherfucker saying no more questions. He's feeling a certain kind of way, and y'all are pressing him a little too tough. So I'm gonna have him walk off, and I will tend everything else from here.
Mike, I guess Mike, my roommate, just told me somewhere there's a city in Cali that just elected a city councilman that was a registered pedophile, and they still elected him.
Well, that makes sense for California, doesn't it? I wish the politicians cared about minors and not just minors on an island somewhere.
Listen. Listen.
Oliver Anthony, he knows what he's talking about.
Well, I don't know now because he was more concerned about the minors. And if you got this nigga in office, you better be concerned about the minors. the fuck is wrong with you, Oliver? Did you know that this was going to take place before you wrote those lines?
No doubt.
Oh, he talking about them rich men north of Richmond. So God knows he didn't have no idea who California was going to elect. But when you got a bigger population on Skid Row than in the Valley, that says something.
True.
So let's see. What's the platform then? So it's bring back or raise corporate income tax. And I'm saying any company that makes over $1 billion, that's a 90% corporate income tax. Give them a reason to pay their employees more.
Right.
To keep them below that $1 billion in profit through their operating expenses of paying their people. So that's number one. Number two, if you are a CEO of a publicly traded company, you cannot make more than 10 times your lowest employee's paid salary. Rule number three, or position number three, reparations.
Reparations, motherfuckers. I want my 40 acres and a goddamn mule.
Reparations. We will.
I don't know what to do with
do
the
our
mule,
best.
but I
Now,
want it.
Here's the flip side of that, though. That's it. We don't get to talk about it anymore after that.
I don't even want reparations. Just, black folks don't need to be taxed. How the fuck are we paying for a country that didn't give a fuck about us from the jump? Fuck the reparations, no taxes.
Well, you didn't catch all of it. Like the reparations are going to be taxed. So
Exactly. That's how you know they're gonna get you. We gonna give you reparations, but we gonna tax it like a motherfucking
we're gonna tax it like capital
commission.
gains,
So it's
right?
gonna be 60-40. I want you to know that. Nah, bitch, just take the taxes off my motherfucking head.
Well, that's actually the other position that I am starting to become more and more enamored with, and is actually on the House floor right now. Eliminate federal income tax. It's not
What's
paying.
that mean?
It's not.
Do
It means you do not do a. You do not file. What is it? A 1099, a W-2. Like that is no longer required.
But then wouldn't the country's debt ceiling be raised even higher?
Not if you are raising the corporate income tax to 90% for anybody making more than $1 billion. Trust me, it all works out. Because they are taking more money from the average American than they are from these fucking billionaires and from these companies that aren't even people
That's the truth.
right now.
Yeah,
But
So
they're also
tax the
getting
corporations.
funded. Campaigns are being funded by them. So
Exactly.
why would they do that?
That's why if I ran, I would be like Katie Porter. Have you heard about Katie Porter? She is this junior or a freshman House of Representatives. I can't remember where from, but she is the one who's like putting bankers and like CEOs and stuff on notice when they come into Congress. So a lot of the stats that I rattled off today about like, she's the one that basically interrogated Jamie Dimon, who is the CEO of Chase Bank, and said, help me understand how an employee of yours is operating at a $750 deficit on a month-to-month basis. Help me understand. Like, you make $10 million a day. How does this person survive? Help me understand that. And
Do you
so
help her understand?
no, because he doesn't have an answer. And so, like, if you get a chance, follow her or find her on TikTok, like the videos about her, because she will bring in like these big graphs and like these Venn diagrams and shit, and will just put people on blast like in the middle of the Senate floor or the House floor.
What's her name again?
Katie Porter.
Katie Porter.
Yep.
She's not as lenient as the alien bitch, is she? Because she was leaving all the questions on the table. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? I hope that they cut this, right? Because it's a lot of questions that I have that should be guaranteed questions that should come to your mind that you just don't seem to be asking.
And that brings me to point number 5.
Go ahead.
We are going to make publicly available to all of the scientific community everything we know about UFOs and aliens. Because we need some fucking answers.
UAPs. What is
UAPs, yep. UAPs, there's another one around. There's another one that's been popularized recently. But the reason they changed the name of it is to distract people from what like it's called. So people don't
these
pay attention to
motherfuckers
it.
know what's really happening. Like there's no reason why they could give up any information that they have about the aliens because they know what's going on. We work for them. You hear me? We work for them.
You think we work for the aliens?
75% water, and you don't explore that, but we shooting to the moon, Edith. What the fuck is that about? You know what's going on.
We haven't been to the moon in a long time.
I'm saying though,
we're not even exploring right now. Because
we are satellites, you got space stations, you building elevators, escalators, all kinds of vaders, and ain't nothing strong enough to withstand the depths of the ocean for you motherfuckers to really explore. Nah, you ran into the wrong neighborhood and you was like, oh, I didn't know this was occupied. We'll leave you alone and we'll venture off into the universe.
Point number 6. MARS.
Mars,
bitches.
What's happening with Mars? We already fucked that up. They like, God damn, these motherfuckers coming back. No, I'm just
well, there was actually a recent article or journal published, or scientific journal entry published, that said that when we first landed craft on Mars, so before the rover even, this was like in the mid-2000s, that we took samples, and those samples actually show evidence of life.
Right.
that we may have destroyed by taking it off of the planet's surface.
Elected to city council.
Wait, say it again. We may have destroyed.
So we took samples. We took samples of the
destroyed
surface
those
of Mars.
samples when we took them off the planet.
So basically,
Oh.
we brought them into the vacuum of space, and it killed whatever life it was.
Right. They can only live
Now-
specifically on.
It was probably only microbes and that kind of stuff, anyways. But
right.
still,
That's what I'm gathering.
Something was brought
But see, here's my whole thing. Right. Here's my whole thing about it.
Awesome.
We know that it's not even just human beings. Life in general is adaptable to its environment. You feel me?
yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that if you went and put something on Mars, that it would be able to evolve fast enough to survive there. But if something was already there, just because you can't survive in its atmosphere doesn't mean that something didn't exist there prior to.
Oh, no
You
doubt.
feel what I'm saying? Because this motherfuckers that can't breathe water, right? You can't breathe water, us
True.
as human beings.
Well, this goes back to human arrogance and how humans expect life to look like or feel like or be like us in terms of what kind of environment can they survive in? What does it look like? Is it carbon based? You know, there are so many possibilities out there, like it's insane. And speaking of possibilities, did everybody see the Mexican UAP summit?
No, yeah, where they put the pictures out.
No, they brought the bodies on stage.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, but we saw the
We saw
pictures
pictures,
of
yes.
that. Right.
Bodies from what?
Supposedly aliens,
So, yeah.
or non-humanoid life forms, because we don't know if they're interdimensional or from here.
They trying to smuggle keys in
was
through the
at a
alien. No, I'm
Mexican
just playing.
What was that, Dave?
This was at a Mexican summit, an official summit.
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw the pictures and all this shit.
because our boy Gordon sent it to us. I actually had seen it already. That's why. I didn't
Yeah, I
know.
had to.
You sure it wasn't piles of refried beans?
It could have been, but I'm telling you, the sculptor of the refried beans didn't even have to be that talented, to be honest. They could have just, threw them together and poked some holes and
These would be
sarcophagized it.
these would be the small grays, based on the photos. Not the
But
tall
you know what's
grays, the
crazy
small
is immediately
grays.
when I saw that, I wasn't immediately thinking, oh, this is fake. The first thought that came to my mind was, oh, they're powerful. The smaller these little bastards are, I guarantee you, the more powerful they are. We've had Napoleons all through this world that we've lived.
Cliff being one of them.
I may be one of them. And I just found out Napoleon was 5'8". I said, motherfucker, you know what
We the
kind of
same
range comes with
size.
an extra 3 inches you lose it?
Right.
Motherfucker, you know what this is really about? So
Trust
I
me,
can
man.
only imagine if you are a being from another dimension, galaxy, universe, whatever, to be that comfortable to just be cruising through everybody's hood that small, oh, you got something on you. Whether
Well,
it's backup, weapons,
It's either
Whatever
technology
the case
or
may be.
it's mind games.
You hear what I'm saying?
all the other city council.
That's why we work for them.
Telepathy and telekinesis.
Somebody should have
Goes a
jumped
long
on
way.
stage and elbow dropped that motherfucking alien. 'Cause we work for them motherfuckers. That's who we working for.
You think we're working for the aliens? I would believe that if
Yeah,
we
I
were,
wouldn't be surprised.
if we were.
I don't know that I legitimately believe it, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Here's my thing: is to what end? Like that doesn't make sense to me. Now, the fact that we are in reality working for a bunch of billionaires to stay billionaires, like that makes sense to me in the sense that as long as the current world order continues, they sit on top of the world.
But
There's nothing that stops
Yeah.
them.
well, they sit on top of the world, so to speak. But let's keep it a buck. Everybody has a boss.
I hear you. And
And
if we were
if
building something, if we were farming something, if we were like gathering resources, I would be more inclined to believe what you're saying.
Well, look at the fracking that we're doing. We're literally destroying our planet to come up with
That's
resources.
fair. That's fair.
We're stripping.
Like we're doing all kinds of things that are nonsensical to someone who's trying to sustain the place that they're living.
Here's my point on that, though.
We've been doing that for years. I mean, with me back in the day, around where I grew up with all the strip mining, now it's all fracking.
Well,
yeah, they're pulling all the resources.
But again,
out of the earth, one way or another.
But again, I'm going to take this back to this. Okay, fine. We're mining energy. If they are powerful enough to cross dimensions or cross space, that energy is not efficient enough to do that.
Well, we don't know that.
It is
not. We don't know that. We don't know that.
The power that we are able to generate from it.
Something so simple to us that is something that they need. We need this.
Now, see, I have a different outlook. Mine is the fact that they want us to strip all the resources out of the planet so they can easily come in and
recolonize. I can see that. That would make more sense to me, I guess.
I mean, my whole thing is this, right? Because at what point, like, I get it, when you think about all the quote unquote families, the Carnegies, the Morgans, the Rothschilds, the all them, you know what I'm saying? And of course there is a drive or determination to keep what you've built up. But at the same time, it's like at what end, you feel what I'm saying? Because you have so much money that you can support your kids for 10 generations.
Right.
So at what end, like what keeps you driving to want more at that point instead of just cooling your inbred old ass down and being like, I'm good?
It is seeking immortality.
You said what? Immortality?
It is seeking immortality.
Okay. From a standpoint of your name living forever, or a standpoint
of actual immortality. So investing in technology, medical research, those kind of things that keep you alive. Your physical body alive.
That's interesting.
I mean, it goes back to the Walt Disney's in a vault somewhere, right?
His head is at least.
Right, cryogenically frozen.
They told you that on Futurama.
So, like,
it was made by The Simpsons. So don't think it's
graining.
He's
a stonecutter. Oh, I mean a Freemason.
don't think it's too far off a nonfiction.
They're going to use Disney's head or Nixon's head, Washington's teeth.
Washington's teeth. I can make those with this closet door I'm looking at right here.
They're going to reanimate it,
I can make a set of Washington grills out of this here closet door.
All right, want to hit the chat real.
Go ahead.
I want to hit the chat real quick. So the Reeds is out there.
My Reeds.
She gave us Mike and Cliff for Prez. We work for the aliens and Bigfoot.
Mike.
Plus, we left trash on Mars and the moon. And then size matters. Thank you, Mom.
That hurts, Cliff.
Hey.
I did.
Shout out.
I guess I did.
Shout out to the Reeds, though.
Maybe.
She survived the Grand Canyon yet again, so shout outs to the Reeds.
Man, now you going on record-breaking statistics now.
Done the canyon run?
Oh, she's done it every year for at least the last 5 to 10, something like that.
Well, if you could type in, tell her I said congrats and hi. She's fucking awesome.
Man,
that's her drug. Yeah.
She is something else. And no, I'm not going for a run. All right, next question.
I might have to cut both of y'all. I want to know what y'all are running off of. I bet it's gears and oil and all kinds of shit. Yeah, I need to know what's under y'all skin because y'all.
No.
She just running. She just Forrest Gumping into her years.
My roommate wants to know if she's ever been invited to the Death Valley run.
She has run Badwater before. I actually did the last 13 miles with her up Mount Whitney.
My roommate's jaw just dropped.
She did it in 2008. She finished in 42 hours. We finished it I think 8 or 9 o'clock at night going up the switchbacks.
48-hour run.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's dangerous.
She's crazy.
She's dangerous. That's why she tried to throw us off the scent. She said aliens and Bigfoot. You one of them. You one of them. I know something.
No, Cliff, I've explained this to you before. There's a reason why my mother worked for the Red Cross for 30 years of her life.
Fuck all that vampire shit.
She's a fucking vampire.
You know what? Death Valley, Arizona, all that, you could turn into a bat and go through that course pretty swift, and nobody would see anything the wiser. They'd be like, yeah, it's a bat. We see it.
She's a day walker. It's okay.
What's that show?
Blade.
What we do in the night. Or what happens in the shadows.
Yeah.
He said, bat. That's what your mom does. As soon as the race starts, she jogs for a little bit, and then everybody's like, who yelled bat? What's that flying above me? That's how she wins. She ain't fooling nobody. Either that or a fucking cyborg, one of the two. And I'm gonna find out.
She'll be here in October, Cliff. We'll have to do a live episode.
I'm gonna find out.
Yeah,
We're gonna have to give her a physical on camera and see what's really going on.
He's been doing that shit for years. Yeah.
Like your heart doesn't even beat; it just hums in there. What the fuck is going on?
Well,
Right, yeah. You got a battery in your back.
Her lungs must go up to like her shoulders and shit.
Right.
And shit. I mean, it's crazy. I'm not running unless a motherfucker's chasing me. I'm sorry.
No.
Man, running has never been my favorite thing to do.
Nope. All right.
Running has never been my favorite thing to do.
All right. I do want to hit a couple of other things before we're out tonight. So number one.
Okay.
So I played the Horizon games on PlayStation. Those are pretty dope.
Yeah, didn't I tell you about that?
I don't know if you did or not, but I played them, and those are pretty dope.
Yeah, I played the second one. I didn't beat it all. Yeah, I did. We did talk about that because remember I said that the animals were evolving into robots, and taking.
Yeah. So I played
real quick. I was thinking about getting a system. What gaming system should I get?
I'm gonna be honest, and I've always been an Xbox guy.
For Uncle Dave, PlayStation.
PlayStation 5.
Yeah, for Uncle Dave, PlayStation. Because you're not going to be as competitively online. That's more so Xbox, in my opinion. PlayStation is more so like story movie kind of games, and you just play them out. But Xbox doesn't have a lot of those.
So that was
okay.
So that was number one. That was number one for me. Number two for me, Final Fantasy 16. Although
I heard good things about it. I don't know anything about it. But
it is. So the story behind it looks really cool, and like the graphics are incredible. I don't know how I feel about it because when I think Final Fantasy games, I think back to the early ones, like turn-based combat, that kind of stuff. This is much more action-oriented.
Right.
Like, cool.
And it's more like Elden Ring kind of.
Yeah, and it's a more linear story than I'm used to from Final Fantasy. Yeah, tons of cutscenes, man. Like the first 15 hours of gameplay are probably 6 hours of cutscenes.
For real?
And then the last one, and this right now is an Xbox exclusive, although it might be out on PlayStation 2, I can't remember, but it is on Game Pass for free. So if you've got Game Pass, Starfield. And this is a game that I've been talking about for 2 years now. It is
That's
the
not
latest.
What we played.
No, it is the latest from Bethesda, so not BioWare. But Bethesda.
See, I've heard good and bad so far about that.
So what I will say is it is so immersive that I could see playing that game for 100 hours and still not finding everything. It is very much like, it's like Fallout and Skyrim, so it's made by the same company as those games.
Skyrim in space, right.
Yep, but the just sheer scope of it. Now, I will say, I don't think the story is as strong as Skyrim or as strong as even Fallout. but like your flexibility to really do whatever the hell you want is out there with that game. And so I've probably logged 20 hours in it since it came out last week, and it's got my attention. I can understand the negative feedback, like some of the encumbrance sucks, like the fact that you can only pick up so much stuff and you are continuously having to like dump inventory, that kind of stuff. I think that the skill trees are almost too deep, meaning like as you upgrade your guy, there's almost too many options. Right. And so you can't get to some of the really cool stuff around like ship building or outpost building or things like that very early on, because it requires a lot of investment to be able to get to that stuff. And then again, the overall storyline's kind of like it's not as exciting as like the Fallout start or any of the Fallout games really, or like Skyrim, which felt very engaging. Like this is a little more, you get introduced to a main story, but it's really about how you want to play it. And so you can go be like a trader, you can go be a researcher, you can go be a diplomat, you can go be a name your thing. Like I think right now
GTA 6 is like that.
Right. And so I think it sets the bar high for a lot of things. Go ahead.
Right.
Have you heard anything about this Baldur's Gate game that's supposedly...
I have heard a ton about it, and I will tell you, I have actually bought it, and I haven't played it yet because Starfield took priority. So gotcha. Baldur's Gate, I will probably get to at some point, but it won't be until this winter. Like, I'll play Starfield until I feel like I've tapped it out, and then I'll go to Baldur's Gate.
But speaking of games, I just want to say this.
What you got?
NBA 2K, your bitches. And your mamas is bitches.
And Madden, for that matter.
Y'all bitches. And I'm not saying that I don't like the game. I'm just saying that, like, it goes back to what we talked about at the beginning of the episode, the corporate greed shit. Now you charging motherfuckers $20 a season to get the rewards that you would get from being good.
Ooh.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like now, if you pay $20, the goal of 2K is to hit 40, like Call of Duty, but you have to do it in a certain amount of time, like within like a 6-week span, which is a season. If you pay $20 now, you get 20 free level skips. So now you only have to hit 20 as opposed to 40.
Right.
You don't have to be good to do it. You just have to play the game. You know what I'm saying?
That you can pay to upgrade, basically.
Everything is all pay now.
Pay to play, right.
I mean, Fortnite does a lot of the same, and I've been playing a lot of that with the kiddo lately.
And I can only imagine, the thing with Madden is they still ride off of the head-to-head gameplay.
Yeah.
If they converted to, like, online gameplay like Madden did, or like 2K did, I don't know that the Madden community would stay on board.
No, because Madden is all about being able to control everyone, whereas 2K is about like building your squad and like you all control somebody, right?
Like you can play 5-on-5 like a game, but it's only going to upgrade your, you know, like your rank as the game player.
Right.
Right now, is there going to be another NCAA game coming out?
Supposed to be this year.
That's what they said.
I don't know
but now I think it's going to be
2024.
Yeah.
Now are kids going to be able to make money off an NIL deal with that game?
What I think is going to happen with that is I think it's basically going to be you can opt in or opt out.
Right.
So opt in and you just
everybody's
get like a
not
flat
gonna have
rate.
The ability to be involved. But yeah. I don't think they'll go with names. Like I don't think it'll be like Madden where you see everybody's names. I think it'll still be NCAA style where it's all numbers. But the starred numbers will be making money off of.
Yeah, you're gonna get a skill level guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. that's gonna be like, sure, if I can make money off of Matt, but
they'll put you in it anyway.
Right.
They'll put you in it anyway.
They'll change the number and change the skin tone.
Yeah, you haven't done anything for us to not make you. We're giving you the opportunity to make money.
And that's the thing.
Right.
Like these college players, they still sign like agreements with the university as part of their scholarships. Like they
Right.
basically say we can use you in advertising.
Right.
Because again, the billionaires are gonna keep being billionaires.
Oh,
Till
yeah.
we quote unquote kidnap them and give them a swirly.
Right.
That's what's gonna keep happening. It's gonna take something for motherfuckers to be like, oh, these motherfuckers ain't taking it no more.
Right.
And I mean, striking's going good. Don't get me wrong, but everybody can't afford to. We seen the essential workers during COVID. Motherfuckers can't afford to strike.
Well,
So,
that's the
I mean,
thing is
At
unions.
some point, it's going to
unions
take a
have to
little
have
more than
funds to
just
be
saying
able
I'm
to.
not
Yeah.
showing up to work.
You
Right.
get a company like Yellow Trucking that their people wanted to pay more and they declared bankruptcy. And like Mike said, all the fucking top motherfuckers with their umbrellas got their money, and all the truck drivers got said up, no more work.
Right.
Right. Listen, y'all still got y'all's keys?
No doubt.
You hear me? Y'all still got y'all's keys. It's not your truck.
Yeah, it's as I said, take the truck, right?
Y'all still got y'all's keys. If I can't keep this motherfucker, I'm not saying nothing.
Especially if you got a load on, you can always sell the load. Too.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but
saying.
that's a
bundle
one-time-
up,
that's
tuck
a
and roll. That's all
one-time-
I'm saying.
That's a one-time payment. That's the problem with that.
You feel me? I want the insurance to cover the truck and the facility, not just the truck. Y'all fucking me, I'm fucking y'all too. Tuck and roll. I'll be bundled up.
The
They'd be like, we
means
thought Cliff was 180 pounds. This motherfucker walked in, looked like he was 200 pounds. Yeah, because I had 12 layers on and a mission.
that I mean, go back to the Industrial Revolution, the means of production.
Right.
Yeah, you got to pour some tea to get some attention. You can't just be like, I'm not coming to work. We seen what happened in COVID. They said stay home from work. So you think not coming from work is going to damage their pockets like that? It will. It'll bother them, but it's not going to damage their pocket.
No, and the thing is with COVID and work from home, like study after study has shown that productivity increased. Like let people live their lives, man. Like these companies that are asking people to come back to the office like 3 days a week, 2 days a week, full time. Like y'all are fucking nuts.
They're demanding.
There is
demanding their people.
right, and guess what? Everybody that gets put in that situation should walk. Because guess what? If everybody who gets put in that situation walks, that company ceases to be able to function.
Right.
Well, especially something
Period.
like ours. That's
Period.
not,
Point
that's not
blank.
even-
Period.
But my
point
whole
blank.
thing is with mine, like I hate calling off because it's like if I don't show up, somebody else is going to do my work and they're not going to do it like me. Motherfuckers are dependent on paychecks.
Right. No,
You know
absolutely.
what I'm saying?
Well,
Like
that's
there's a
what they.
back end to my shit. It's not like I can just say fuck the company. I'm fucking over people as well if I do that.
That's
and
what
I
they
just
have.
can't bring myself to do that.
Well, and again, because their biggest fear is that every company, especially any company over 100 people, unionizes.
Right.
Because the only way an action like that works is if everybody does it.
What do you have to do to unionize?
That is something that varies kind of state by state.
State
but
to state.
all I can tell you is companies that try to take action against people who try to start unions, that's illegal. You cannot stop workers from unionizing.
I bet there's national lawyers that take that bait.
There's also vicious things that some companies will do to that individual.
Absolutely.
Fuck that.
Absolutely.
Fuck
But again, this all comes back to strength in numbers. We outnumber them. Period.
No, you're not wrong.
So
Yeah,
you gotta start it quiet. Start it quiet. Recruit people.
I ain't been rested in years to fuck. What the fuck are y'all talking about? And I know it's a whole bunch of motherfuckers that feel like me. Civil unrest, nigga, you gotta be rested to be unrested.
Yeah, but you have to organize that civil unrest
Well-
for it to be lawful and for it to take any kind of
It's
real
been
action.
organized. Everybody, this nigga singing about it. Anthony Albert singing about the shit. Motherfuckers been tired.
Well, but that's the thing is you got to figure out how to decentralize the leadership of it. And you've got to create that community. Like every company should have like, and I say this in jest because this isn't the right format, but like every company should have a group chat that doesn't include anybody with a director or higher fucking title in it.
I agree with that. That's interesting.
Well,
You should be
and
comfortable
I-
with it because if you're taking care of your employees,
Right.
you wouldn't have anything to worry about them speaking or
Bingo.
Well, and I also feel that some companies should have, and don't get me wrong on this, but 2 HR persons. One hired by the company and one hired by the employee that, excuse my French, but is of non-Caucasian persuasion.
Here,
Because that way you get to both,
here's
ahead,
the trick with that.
I was about to say something that
Here's
may
the
get
trick
me in
with
trouble,
that.
but I'm still gonna say it. Go ahead, Mike.
Human resources works for the company. Their job is to protect the company. They do not give a shit about anybody except for
That's why
protecting
I'm
the company's
saying you
bottom
hire
line.
two,
The
one
only
that
place where what you're talking about works is a union. Is a union rep.
Right.
It's the
I was
same
just
thing as
about
the
to say
Players
that.
Association. It's the same thing. Like you see this in all of the big organizations. But that
Well, I
is
know
that
my
is
dad worked for the
unions.
steel workers union.
You know
for
what? Y'all
years.
just saved me. Y'all just saved me having to say what I was about to say because at the end of the day, I'll just say this. There are a few races that are included that I don't, as a man of color in a corporate environment, trust to do the minority type thing.
Right.
Now, of course, my ignorant ass was about to name them. And I'm sure anybody that has the hue that I do already knows who I'm talking about.
Well, and on top of that, like you see all these companies with like diversity ethics and or diversity, equity, and inclusion. Like, no, guess what? Again, they work for the company. They work for the
Right.
company and its bottom line. They do not give a fuck about is our workforce diverse enough? Is our whatever? Are we inclusive enough? They don't care. They don't. They don't. That's
I
not what they're
couldn't
paid to do.
I couldn't imagine being like an Amazon packer because it's like pick work. It's like, back to the old school, you have to get this total, pretty much, it's like.
But that's any work, though, I thought.
I mean, it really is. Like
That's my job, and I'm not picking shit, but I have to have so much done in a matter of time, or they're like, productivity's low,
Yep.
I'm picking cyber cotton over here. I know that's what you wanted to say. I'll say it for you. You just changed the product. It was cotton back in the day, and it was only black folks. Now it's packages. Now it's groceries. Now it's DoorDash. Now it's Amazon Prime. Now it's Best Buy. Now it's all these other places, and you're still picking all of the little bullshit.
Right.
The only difference is they're paying you enough for your stupid ass to say my bills is paid.
Right.
Barely, but most Americans' bills aren't being paid. Though.
Well, and that's the thing. Again.
Oh, I have to juggle,
the
which are more important, of course. But I thought that was a part of paying bills.
But that goes back to our statement a couple of weeks ago, Cliff. The average salary, if you account for inflation during the Great Depression, was $95,000. The average salary right now is about 45. So
In some states, it's lower than that.
right,
I'm
and
below
so
that
you want
right
to
now.
talk all
And I've
the
been in my company for 6 years.
right, and you want to talk all these boomers telling us like, no, you just need to work harder. No, the American dream still. No, it's not. Again,
No,
the
and
average home price.
that's one thing. I can say that I'm a boomer that won't say that.
Right.
Well, during my time, and especially my parents' time, hell yeah, they had it better.
Hell, fucking yes.
Granted, they didn't have the stuff we might have not here today, but that's because of technology advances. So does everything else. So back then, those things weren't talked about. But yeah, I'm one of the boomers that will never say you guys keep working hard, because I can tell you from living out here, with the mere amount that even I make on Social Security disability, it's just stupid. It's
Right.
crazy.
Yeah, oh no, that's unheard of. There's no way you can live off that.
No, because
y'all
it's
have
not.
y'all have to come together to get something, because there's no way you can live dolo off that shit.
Well, and one of my favorite jokes,
Right.
because I'm living this lifestyle right now, like, yeah, people are in the poly life because it takes 3 or 4 people to be able to afford a house right now. Like,
Right.
I talked about it, I think, the last episode we had about golden handcuffs, and I'm in the same situation, is that, yeah, I am lucky that I own a home. I can't afford to sell this house and buy another house right now, despite the fact
Right.
that I have $100,000 in equity.
To ask again what that meant. Now you explained it.
Right, and despite the fact that I have $100,000 in equity in this house that I could put towards a down payment, I still wouldn't be able to afford the mortgage payment, and I make
No.
good money. Like, if I can't do it, and I am probably the epitome of the upper middle class right now, despite the fact that I'm paying, what I'm paying in support. Because if I wasn't paying that, my statement might not be the same if I wasn't paying that. So let me be clear on that. But that being said, like, that's insane to me. How do I have $100,000 that I'm basically sitting on in this house, and I couldn't afford to buy a comparable house right now?
That's why motherfuckers say life is so much simpler for people with less, right? Because when you know that all of that is on the table, then of course everybody wants to reach, everybody wants to grab. There is going to be legal involved. But when you don't have that, just to know that you'll provide what you can.
Right.
And in a lot of instances, can maybe more than you would be mandated to provide.
Right.
But that's the beauty of having less.
Yeah.
Because if you knew I had more, I would be mandated.
Right. You would be coming after more.
Right. Whether or not I'm giving more now or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when motherfuckers go, that, I guess roundabout is what I'm saying is, no, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say that dude that tried to swim up to the island with the Bible hat, what was coming to him? Stay the fuck out of our area. We're living simple shit. We see what you do to the world.
Right. Well, and again, like,
I don't care if you have something lovely as a Bible. To some people, put it down. That's just as bad as a gun here.
Right. Well, and don't get it twisted. Like, I explained, I think the last episode or 2 episodes ago, what I'm dealing with in terms of my house right now, because pipes burst and that kind of shit. I am fortunate that I can cover that, and I don't, like, yes, I'm going to have to tighten the belt, but I can handle it. Like, my ex and I got into it.
You could handle it if you couldn't.
No, absolutely. Well, I wouldn't be remodeling. We'll put it that way.
You could, but you could still handle it.
I could handle it. You're right. The flip side of that is that, my ex and I have had the debate, especially with when it comes to like teaching our son. My big thing was I want him to know the value of money. And is money everything? Absolutely not. It is not. It never will.
All money ain't good money.
That being said, having money makes things easier, because there are problems that could have buried me that don't. And when I can give, I do. But the flip side of that is I handle my own and I'm okay. And I don't have to ask for help.
What I gathered from those words was it doesn't pay to look for it.
Right.
Now, of course, you have to earn it. And by earning it, you have to do things to get it.
Right.
But the more you look for it, the more you cross that line of morals and boundaries.
Absolutely. And
whether it be corporate, street, whatever the case
is.
may be.
And trust me, I went to school with a bunch of dudes who are on Wall Street right now, probably making hand over fist. It wasn't the life for me. I wanted a life.
Right.
So that at the end of the day, like, you've got to do what's right for you. But we have a friend, and at some point he'll be back on this podcast that talks about how much he's about that money. But then at the same time was in our group chat asking for money. Like, are you really about that? Like,
Well,
come on, dude.
I can tell you.
Don't do that.
I mean,
Don't do that.
I can tell you that, I made a lot of people upset moving out here, but I moved out here for me and my health. I know that if I was still in Ohio, I still wouldn't be alive because of the cold and stuff. And I can also tell you, I know damn well about taking care of yourself because I'll be straight up honest with you too. I make $1,900 a month. That's it. I'm just glad I don't drive anymore because God forbid. It's just, it is what it is. But I mean, yeah, it sounds like your buddy. That's an interesting segue there. So.
Well, I mean, but that's the thing is, like, I get it, but you have to make those choices. And like, do I love the work that I've done my whole life, like working for the different corporations that I've worked for? As long as they have afforded me the flexibility to do what I want during my time, yeah.
What it comes down to, I think, honestly, is your comfort level.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And some people adapt their comfort levels from where they came. Some people develop them as they go. Some people strive for more. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with striving for more in any situation.
Never.
But striving for more than necessary usually ends in a compromisation of values.
Absolutely.
I can say wholeheartedly, been there, done that, got the shirt, unfortunately.
Oh, I've been there myself. And I know both of you know it. I've been there myself. And I guess that's why it's like it all ties back into the original conversation with the corporate greed, because you can have enough and be comfortable. And I think that that's why people haven't rebelled and been up in arms and, riding with torches and pitchforks. One, because the tiki torch guys ruined it for white folks.
I can't go anywhere with a tiki torch.
And two, you can't even have them in your yard right now.
No, I can't.
Looking like,
especially being bald. Come on now.
You know what I'm saying? And in the area you're in, there should be not a tiki torch around. But two is we've been riding comfortably. I think that the average American is like, I just need what I need, and I'm not asking for more.
Well, and that's the problem.
I'm satisfied going to work because it satisfies the things that I need and no more.
But that's the problem right there. Is that
complacency or
no? And here's my take on it. I do think through the 90s and 2000s, we as a society got complacent, and then the billionaires picked up on it, and they knew they could squeeze us for more. And the problem is that people aren't comfortable right now, which is why we are ripe for a revolution, which is why we are ripe to be able
we're definitely
to burn the system down at this point, because the fact that it has gotten to this point, like some people are like, it's too late. Like the only thing at this point is open revolution. I've got mixed feelings on that, but I'm starting to sway more that way. And when somebody is grounded or as logical as me starts saying, No, it's time to burn the fucking system down.
Yeah, that's where
People
I'm
are no
I don't
longer
give a fuck
comfortable.
about your voting, protesting, your fucking strikes. I don't care nothing about that. These motherfuckers need to pay. And they been should have paid.
Right.
And for our children, we can't allow them to slide by without paying.
No, not at this point, because because of some of the numbers I shared earlier. Like when you went from 40% of a price, or the price of a goods, to being being part of like the labor equation, to it being 10 to 15% of the price of a good.
For
Guess
the
what?
sake of our
It
children,
is time to burn
companies
shit
like
to the
Walmart,
ground.
Amazon should be scared to increase $1.
Right.
They should be scared of the repercussions if they increased a single dollar. And I'm sure back in the day, there was motherfuckers saying a single cent.
Well, because the cent was worth more back then.
As was the dollar back then. But the fact that we just got fat, lazy, and complacent tells you exactly why these motherfuckers feel comfortable doing it. And it's not even under your nose. It's in front of your face.
Right. Well, and here's, all right, so we just got another from the, from a different unk in the chat.
Is that Uncle Kev?
Nope. Sounds
Who's
like
that?
sounds like a bunch of socialist propaganda. Capitalism rules. That's a joke, by the way. But not a joke to a lot of people.
That's Uncle Dan.
That is Uncle Dan.
Yeah, I can quote a quote that ain't been quoted yet.
The other unk in the building.
You know?
Oh.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen. I seen the I ain't gonna say that on here. We only got but a couple listeners anyway, but I'm not gonna say that on here. I'm not gonna say it on here just for the simple fact that I pray it comes through. And it's not nothing crazy, it's just, you know, a meeting of minds that is scheduled to take place.
Well, and that's the thing, and that goes back to, and to your point, like, I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but this comes back to organization. And we have more technology available to us to organize. The problem is we have no leaders. We have no one to follow.
Yeah,
Because I can
true.
guarantee
Looking
you
across the board, yeah.
I can guarantee you that if we were in this plight in the 60s, there would have been leaders to follow. Right now, there really isn't.
Well, that's because they made, listen, it's the same, it's the experiment that we talked about with the mice in the sugar water. And you got zapped every time you took the sugar water, but you could have the regular water without getting zapped. But you wanted the sugar water because it satisfied a certain need in you. But after generations of mice that went through that same cage, it was like, I'm not touching that sugar water.
Right.
And that's where we are right now, is because all the leaders were killed, tortured, and otherwise up until this point, which was covered up by the history of this country,
right,
which is just coming out now that has more people upset.
And guess what? At some point, we're going to find out that other revolutionaries of the 90s and 2000s were also murdered by our government. Like, you want to know who killed Tupac and Biggie? It wasn't Tupac and Biggie's crew.
I mean, but that's people that shit. I mean, but you know, motherfuckers don't follow all that history. I'm just saying, at some point, I want the fucking sugar water. You feel what I'm saying? At some point, there has to be a generation of mice that's like, nah, fuck that. Why can't I have the sugar water? What other way can I go about getting this sugar water?
Or, well, the thing is even your generation, but the generation after you, your generation is willing to take that one shock to get the sugar water and go beyond it. This generation, I don't feel is.
No, I don't think so either. No, I don't think so either.
Well,
you guys' generation was the last real tough generation.
I think this generation has fight in them, but I think that they don't know what the fight is for. I think our generation grew up being almost conditioned to know at a later age, oh, this is why this is necessary.
Well, we were also conditioned with disaster after disaster to some extent. So remember that
beyond financial disasters
absolutely,
in home and
absolutely. Just remember that our generation, Cliff, is the group that witnessed the first real strike on American soil. Whether you believe it was
actual strike,
yes, whether you believe it was carried out by our own government or not.
Oh, you mean 9/11?
We witnessed 9/11. We graduated. Those of us that went to college graduated in one of the greatest recessions in the history of the company or history
of the country. What do you even
say
to that? You don't. And I'm not trying to be ignorant for anybody listening, but you don't say like happy belated. Like you don't say like what do you say in that situation?
Late regards.
It just came back. The
late regards. I don't know.
Late regards may work. Because that's.
I just say always remember would be
always remember.
Always remember. But you know what I'm saying? Like it's the acknowledgement of the day that passed. So of course, always remember works, but I don't know that it acknowledges that the anniversary
here's the flip
whatever
side
that
of it
is.
Here's the flip side. Depends on what you believe on that front. Was that a false flag operation or was that truly us being attacked by someone else? I honestly don't know how I feel about it anymore. Like, if you had asked me 10 years ago, I'm like, yeah, that was absolutely an attack by somebody, some external force. Now I'm not so sure. That being said, we lived through that. That was during our formative years while we were in high school.
In that were in that.
So do I. I dated a girl whose dad was a New York City firefighter. Like, so
God bless him.
That we lived through the Great Recession. Hey, guess what? We got a black president, first one in the history of the country. Oh, and then we get hit with COVID. And then we get hit with Donald Trump.
Was that our prize?
No, but what I'm saying is like we have been hit, our generation has been hit with like mass event after mass event after mass event after mass event. Like there is no other generation in the history of the United States, now maybe in the world, but in the history of the United States that has lived through.
Wait though.
How about the generation that lost the space shuttle?
What's that? What is that? What time was that? What is that?
When the space shuttle blew up. When was
86.
That was the
Challenger in 86.
Like in the 60s or 70s?
No, 86 was 90s. The Challenger. And then Discovery was in the 90s.
Okay.
But there wasn't much I couldn't see right after that, though. You guys went through some shit, your generation. I agree.
Well, the only reason why I say wait is because we have children that were born prior to COVID. Everybody talks about the COVID babies. But we don't talk about the kids born prior to COVID that should have been starting school that didn't get a chance to.
True.
That are going to be socially awkward now. And not understanding why things were and should have snapped back.
And meanwhile,
to the way it should have been.
Meanwhile, my child who started school during COVID is completely the opposite and is one of the most social creatures I've ever met.
Well, that's the thing about it too. You know, that it goes back to the poor people are the happiest.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When you have less, certain kids thrive to connect with others.
Yeah.
Others want to tense up and not be. Now, because of COVID and I was homeschooled, I don't even want to talk to you. I don't even know how to deal with you.
Well, and that was the first picture of like isolating us. And it's interesting. Like, do I support the events of January 6th, whatever year that was, 2020? No, but do I understand how people got to that point? Absolutely.
It's just time to flip the table. I feel like our brother's keeper tattoo should be, you should have a black man flipping the table and I should have a white man flipping the table. That way everybody asks, what does that even mean? That means that we should all flip it in unison.
Absolutely.
Well, Jesus flipped the table of the
But that was also considered a
Of the
sin, and that was out of
Pharisees.
ego.
tax man. So
The what?
it could also represent supposedly. Well, in the Bible, it said there's a thing where Jesus gets mad at the tax collectors and tips over their tables.
Oh, okay.
Also apropos for right now
Oh, of course.
because
The dude Jelly Roll had it on, and I listened to it. The podcast came out probably like last month, but he was saying like he feels like I don't want to misquote him, but he feels like the new
of Jesus Christ,
right, the new depiction of Christianity is killing Jesus, because he said Jesus would have been in a biker vest if he was born today. He said all he did was protect whores, prisoners, and prostitutes. He didn't. The same people that we would look down on because of Christianity are the people that he was rocking with. And I agree with that. I think that he is on to something.
I agree.
And his album, I'm not a country fan, but his
I
album,
only talk to God when I need a favor.
Something church. What is
Something
it?
like that.
You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Jelly Roll from ICP.
I'm trying to figure it out.
He has I think I have it. I have a song on my phone.
I do too. Only talk to God when I need a favor.
Gospel or the church of
something, right? It's a
he's basically he's doing Christian country, but he's doing Christian country
like real Christian
outcasts, like the outcasts. You know what I'm saying? Like
right, because he's a felon. He used to be a felon,
right,
and a drug dealer, and I like that song "Save Me" that he sings with that.
Oh yeah, "Save Me" is great, but that wasn't on it. The one, the devil. Hold up. Because I got the song on my phone, and I think that was one of the
Chapel,
singles
Ballads of the Broken, Waylon and Willie, Self-Medicated.
Cliff got a country song on his phone. What's the world coming to?
You said got a country song? That wasn't my first on my phone, but it's a few.
I mean, Jelly Roll got me with the I only talk to God when I need a favor.
Yeah, I think that's the one that's on the song on the
I think that's Whitsit Chapel.
It's what?
Whitsit Chapel, maybe?
Yep, that's it. That's exactly what I was talking about. But I can't find the song that
Outlaw Country's making a comeback right now. I went and saw Brantley Gilbert at the
I don't know what that is.
Obet's Zucchini Festival for free the other night, and it was fantastic.
I don't know what that is, but
he's got a song.
I can't even find the song. It's
Brantley Gilbert's one I think you'd like, Cliff. He's got kind of that same vibe, and Hardy's the other one that I think has that kind of that same vibe.
Yeah, it's
a little more
about
like
time
rock
for us to
a little more rock country.
It's just about time for us to reverse it back to the realism.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No, because we've spent the last 10 years like with the fake and with I mean, we talked about this in terms of like the 2020s being the deciding decade of humanity, either towards utopia or disaster.
You already know how I was leaning. I already said it. But my whole thing is, the enemy. I'll go as far to say the enemy. You know how treacherous the enemy must be if they would taint the book of God with their will.
I mean,
and King James, the writer of the Bible, 2 years prior wrote a demonic book, a book of. Well, he was rocking with other shit before he decided to take the business opportunity of
also
translating the Bible.
You also understand that the Bible is not the full picture. was a group of like 30 people that decided what was going to be included and what wasn't.
Right. And it started as a translation.
Right.
A translation from, that's always been the mystery. And I've heard certain conspiracies say that that's the true Holy Grail. They're not looking for Mary. They're looking for the place where the original Bible was transcribed.
Well, and on top of that, like, and that gets me into my favorite conspiracy theories around like the Anunnaki and like the Mesopotamia and the Sumerian scripts that like a lot of biblical stories are based off of.
I mean, or maybe stories were created around the biblical.
Right.
We don't know. I mean, we're all, asking questions here, looking for answers. But all I'm saying is if we keep accepting the shit that we hear, whether it be on CNN, Fox News, wherever the fuck,
right,
then we're accepting the King James version that they tried to feed us years ago.
Yeah. All right, fellas. You got anything else to take us out?
I was about to say love everybody, but it gets hard.
It does.
It gets hard to even say the words, right? Because I do feel like you should love everybody, but I also feel like if we talking Bible shit, they even said it's a time to love, it's a time for war, it's a time to, all that.
Then let me amend it for you. Love the other 98%.
No, I feel like you should love the 100, but you should also recognize the 2% as
burn them down.
Sometimes you gotta deal with the people you love.
All right. How about we eliminate the top 1%? Those that are the 99th percent, they have a chance to make the right decision. But then if they fuck that up, we reserve the right to fuck them up too.
Well, listen, I'm not your judge. I'm not your, that's up to you and God. But what I will say is, if I find out that you're stopping, which has already been proven, the food from being distributed equally, I can still love you as I remove you from my existence.
Amen.
I just apologize. It had to come to this point. So love everybody, but don't be love everybody. Love everybody. I'm not saying nothing else.
And with that, do us a favor, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell enemy, tell him
tell
to
that
troll.
Motherfucker to troll.
And with that, peace out, fools.
Love you guys.
Love you too, huh?
Love you.